All right, everybody, we are live now. It's eCom Tom here. I haven't been live in probably 3 weeks. I'm here with Jason.
Hey guys, what's up?
If you guys don't know Jason, he is my business partner and roommate.
And I started a YouTube channel.
And he started a YouTube channel now
called Wholesale Dropshipping Champions.
I do as I say, it's not as I do. I didn't mean the channel. Yeah, so Jason started his own YouTube channel. If you guys don't know who he is, I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't seen him, but he'll be around a lot more nowadays, talking about wholesale dropshipping on YouTube. And we also have with us right now Caleb Baldwin, and Caleb is one of the newest members of Dropshipping University with doing behind the scenes work for what we are doing. And yeah, he lives in the same apartment complex as us, and we actually kind of just found him one day. Well, I did. And so he started his own coffee brand. He sells his branded coffee on Shopify. I'm going to let him explain that. But a little bit about how we found Caleb. I was just like going to the coffee machine one day at our office space that's in our apartment complex. And I came back and I saw a kid that was on Shopify doing stuff. And I just started questioning him. And so here we are now. How many months ago was that? 4 months?
Four. Right after you quit your job, right?
Yeah, it was probably about a month after I quit my job at that point.
Yeah.
I was just kind of chilling by the coffee machine, like didn't even have a desk or anything, on like one of the lounging chairs. And Tom's like, Are you on Shopify right now? I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, what are you doing? So I like kind of explained to him a little bit about me and about the business and whatnot. I think that all three of us are pretty similar background. That's kind of why we clicked.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty true. So if you guys want to if you want to tell everybody, we got 14 people watching right now, a little bit about yourself, your background, what you plan to do with us and help us out, and also what your plan is with your Shopify. I know we don't talk about Shopify very much on this channel, but Jason does do Shopify as well.
Been at it for 3 years.
3 long, arduous years.
Very arduous.
And so if you guys have questions about that, I know it's the hot topic and it's being sold as the thing to do. And I mean, it's not the thing to do, but I know nothing about it. So Caleb, if you want to give a little bit about your background,
sure.
For everybody.
So I kind of grew up in like a smaller town in Southern Virginia. Shout out to VA. Went to college like most people do. You look at what kind of degree can kind of get you out and kind of make money, right? And for me, that was engineering. So I knew I wanted to kind of encompass all engineering aspects. So I chose kind of an untaken path of petroleum engineering. And probably many of you don't know what that is. It's basically like designing of oil wells and the oversight of them. So I went to college 4 years. It typically takes 5, got out, worked hard, and then I immediately went into the oil field as a petroleum engineer. From there, I kind of moved through the ranks really quick. I went from being a field engineer to actually overseeing my entire business district, which does about 8 figures a year. So a pretty substantial business operation. But the thing is with that, I mean, you're working a lot, right? So I was probably working in the beginning, maybe 100 hours a week, and legitimately 100 hours a week. I mean, sleeping in my truck, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I was getting paid a lot, but like, was it worth it? Was like the time I was giving up away from family and stuff. I know the first year that I worked there, I missed every single holiday but Christmas, which is pretty insane, right? I mean, at 22 is pretty insane. So, about a little over a year into it, I decided I needed to change because although I was still running this huge operation and, I was kind of the top dog, I was still working 50, 60 hours a week. I was taking calls at 4 a.m., all that kind of stuff. And to me, I just decided that the money wasn't worth it. Even if you are making 6 figures at, a young age, and I was 22 at the time, to me, it just wasn't worth it. So I turned 23 and I decided that at some point I needed to make a change. So I kind of walked into my employer and asked them for the lifestyle that I wanted, which was less hours and the same money. And they didn't agree with that and weren't willing to do it, as most people probably aren't. So I quit. I walked away, that basically the same day. So I gave up a huge 6-figure, job, really secure, really financially independent at that point, had the freedom to kind of do what I want. I'm lucky with that. So I decided, what could I do next? And, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I think I've told Jason this story. I had my first business when I was second or first grade. I created this little, it was this elite club, right? And you had to pay for membership. So I basically got all these, the cool kids together, and I charged them like 10 or 15 bucks, and they, could then join the club. And we had certain rules, and you couldn't sit at the table if you weren't an elite member and stuff. But this just wasn't popularity. I mean, I was making money off of this. So I come home one day, and I got a little wad of cash. My parents like, why do you have this cash? And I explained to them this awesome business plan that I've now made, and they get real pissed at me. Great idea, but you're stealing money from like 8-year-olds, so this isn't great. I'm like, all right. So, long story short, decided to get back to my entrepreneurship roots, and I wanted to combine it with a passion of mine. For me, that passion's coffee. So I looked at a niche in the market that I thought that I could attack, and for me, that was organic coffee, and specifically broadening people's horizons about coffee. Like most people, if they wake up in the morning, they drip brew their coffee and they drink it, they throw sugar, cream, or whatever source in it, and the majority of the time it's because they don't know about coffee. They don't know about the history of the bean or what went into it, or the thought process behind it, or the different altitude that it was grown out, and truly the hard work that's gone into it to appreciate it. So for me, with the coffee thing, it's really to expand that knowledge. And from there, I went on ahead and on my own kind of started a Shopify store, which, through bouncing ideas off of Jason and Tom has been helpful with refining that. And we've been pretty successful so far. I mean, the first batch we got in about a month ago, sold out in a week and a half, which definitely raises some eyebrows, and just got our next batch in and are looking to do the same. I mean, and for me, I don't think there's anywhere but up with the Shopify thing, and especially with the coffee, the way it's been moving. I mean, it's growing. People are hungry for it. They're learning a lot. In each one of my orders, I put a little handwritten note about where the coffee was sourced from and different tasting notes. So it's really broadening people's horizons, and more so than making money. That's really the goal with what I'm doing with that is getting people knowledge about coffee, which I think a lot of people go into entrepreneurship, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, they go in with the purpose of just making monetary, monetizing the thing instead of actually creating a purpose and an end result of what they want, whether that's freedom, whether you want the ability to travel or something else. A lot of money, yeah, it's great, but if you're not doing something with it or you don't have the time to spend it, it's not really useful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. No, Caleb, getting back to your entrepreneurial roots, your brother, he also has a big company, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So my brother is the one of the masters that I know of both the e-commerce game and of eBay, Amazon, that kind of stuff. He started out drop shipping, found a good niche, and then he actually turned what he was doing from a small operation in basically his kitchen to now they're huge. They have warehouses, all sorts of stuff. They're available to get select surfers on Amazon and eBay that most people aren't access to. And what the niche that they found was with cornhole, right? At the time, it seemed like something stupid or idiotic, like who's going to throw a bag onto a board and it's going to be popular, but it took off. So, I mean, I think he's a testimony to that, to kind of, even if you find a small niche, it can grow big. You just got to keep at it, keep persistent. I mean, to get to where he's at, it's taken him a good 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And definitely I can see it inspires you to work as hard as you do. But we already got a bunch of comments, so we're just going to start answering some questions real quick, do a quick Q&A right now, and then we'll get back into your story and expand a little bit more on Shopify, because I know me and
Cola's in here.
Talk about the Shopify.
Yo, I actually found your brother's Amazon store today when I was trying to find a picture for you. You have no pictures on the internet, so I went to LinkedIn. And then I schemed my way into his Amazon store.
To the top.
All right, yeah. So starting off with some of the comments, eCom Tom's here. He's right outside of Hartford.
Relatives in Lowell.
Relatives in Lowell. I literally grew up in Billerica, which touches Lowell. eCom Tomcat is a true homie. He's here on all the lives. He changed his name for me.
Ryan B, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Let's see. Could you tell us what supplier do you drop ship? I don't think Caleb's going to tell you about his supplier. I mean,
one thing I think that would be a good question for Caleb is everybody always wonders about what is the best supplier. How do you find a supplier? And you'd obviously this isn't the drop shipping or the retail
right
that I talk about on my channel. It's a lot different. And how did you go about finding your supplier for your coffee?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like selling, right? You just got to hit the pavement. You got to start doing a lot of research, start digging, start putting out phone calls, shooting emails. You're going to get a lot of rejections, but you just got to kind of push past that, and you got to keep going. I mean, I know I sampled probably hundreds of coffees before I narrowed down hey, this is going to be my guy. And even then, I mean, I think it's wise to keep pushing, like keep looking for, you know, alternate routes, more direct sourcing, that kind of stuff. Especially, I mean, it's something that would relate to eBay and Amazon as far as whether you want to go private labeling, like cutting out another middleman or whatnot. I mean, ultimately to find my source, it wasn't like a day or 2 days. I mean, it was a couple week process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight for most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since I started doing at least manual dropshipping and stuff as well, too, it's just like you realize that the best supplier is where other people aren't going, and the one that you actually and like did your research to go find and put the hours in, because a lot of people won't go and do that. So,
I think it's something cool too. I mean, once you go through a lot of suppliers, you'll see your competitors and you'll be like, hey, like I know where that guy gets his product from. Like I know it's not as good as mine or whatnot. So it gives you a little bit more confidence and you kind of know where you stand in the market.
So we got 23 people watching right now, guys. Could you take a second, like this? We got 23 people in here, only 8 likes.
Yeah, Cola, especially you.
Yeah,
Cole,
I know.
You gotta
Cola's
cut your hair, kid.
I know Cola's out
cut
there.
Your hair,
he has
bro.
not liked this. So.
I've seen way too many Snapchats of you with that mop on your head.
We also got Success with Sully and Sully.
Oh, yeah,
I
Sully,
love your stuff.
Thank you for showing up here.
I follow your channel and I love it. You're actually putting out great content and we appreciate it.
We don't say that about everybody. I'll tell you that right now. Jameson's socials here. Jameson's all over the place, all over our stuff. He's got a Shopify store and it's just sitting there on hold status. What does that really mean? Does that mean that
it's like vacation mode?
Are you not doing anything? Why are you not selling on it? But yeah, so just leave us a comment down below. Quality of life is super important. He says yes. Dominic, I just schemed Dominic over here from Mark's live. Oh, and Mark's in here as well. What's up? How's it going, guys? Dominic, I did a little shout out, a little plug at the end of Mark's live. I was like, oh, everybody come over to my live. It's happening in about 40 minutes. So yeah, with long shipping times with AliExpress and Alibaba, I mean, a lot of people talk about Alibaba and AliExpress and stuff for like drop shipping, or at least AliExpress for drop shipping with eBay, Amazon, and Shopify. And I mean, does it work? Yes. Is there long shipping times? Like you said, yes. We're doing some work with this Israeli woman named Tammy, who's been on my channel before, and she does very well with it. But a lot of people, I feel like it's just think that you have to be using AliExpress or some DHgate or any of those, and you really don't have to. Like, there's Jason works with US based wholesale suppliers.
So does Caleb,
and so does Caleb.
You guys are in the US.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that those two. I mean, just my thoughts on it. I think they're the most known, right? So that's what people flock to, and they're usually the easiest to find, right? So everybody sees them like, all right, I found my product, I found something I can sell. Like, let me stay here, like I'm comfortable. They don't really try to push the envelope, and I think that's another reason why a lot of people's stores probably stay stagnant.
And that's very true. I mean, it's the same thing as when people were drop shipping Amazon onto eBay, or still are, like there's a ton of saturation, and you're going to see the same items everywhere and everything. Like, it's just not worth it, in my opinion, anymore. I mean, I fell into the easy path, and now as I get more experience in business, I'm like, I want to go where everybody else isn't going.
Yeah,
exactly.
Caleb, do you want to talk real quickly about your supply chain and, talking about your US supplier? Because a lot of people that are, at least in our audience, aren't really familiar with working with US based wholesale distributors. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit. I mean, my supplier, I mean, we have a love-hate relationship, right? I think that's kind of how it's going to go for a lot of you.
I sent you a postcard the other day, right?
Yeah, we've been at war for the past couple of weeks. I've been on their tails. It's been a growing pain of mine, especially when you're running something like this. You run out quickly, which is great, but now you got to figure out how to get more product. I think it's just, the same with any business model. So, I'm constantly back and forth with them and when can I get this? How can I get it quicker? Can I get a cheaper rate? Soon we'll probably be doing net terms. It's just a constant back and forth. I think a lot of people, at least I was a little timid. I know my first time I ordered from them, I was just kind of letting them dictate the terms. And now I'm coming back to them and saying, like, this is what I want. This is what I need. Like, how can you guys get it for me? And like I said, we battled it out for 2 weeks, but they made peace. They sent me a handwritten card, so I think we're on good terms now.
That's awesome.
You guys kissed the mate up. It's a true love story.
I mean, that's just a testament, though. When they sent you that card, that's a testament to that they want to keep doing business with you, and they recognize that you're now a valued reseller of theirs. So, I mean, just keep going with that. And we spoke about this in the office a couple days ago. If you can eliminate as many people from the supply chain as possible, that's how you're going to get your margins much higher, or be able to bring your prices down. So if the bagging process is done at a different company, look into see how you can get, your hands in on that, or, the grinding process. I don't know all the pieces in the coffee game, but essentially if you can remove those middlemen from the supply chain, that's really where you're going to make your big money. And obviously that's going to take time to grow. But when you get to that point, now you're going to be in the driver's seat and have the negotiating power and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, so far during this time where we were kind of a little bit at war, I took the due diligence to kind of track down where they're sourcing a lot of their stuff from. So yeah, I could cut them out, but I think another thing that me and you discussed was, when is it financially smart to, when should you take that leap? And I think that's just going to be a personal decision for a lot of people. I mean, if you can't afford the volume, say you have to order a minimum order quantity that's triple or double what you're normally ordering to get one piece of the puzzle together, it's probably not worth it for you to step away from your current supplier. It's probably best to wait until you're at that point where you can take on the full responsibility.
Now, what was the initial MOQ, or people who don't know what MOQ is, minimum order quantity? What was your initial MOQ with this supplier?
So my initial MOQ was, I believe, about 30 pounds. So that equates to roughly, depending on how you break it up, anywhere from, I don't know, a good estimate would be like 50 bags of coffee, 40 to 50 bags of coffee.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of suppliers, I think I've noticed, and I'm sure you guys have as well, they'll have different tier structures, right? So the more you ordered, you're going to get step backs. And then you'll eventually reach a point where you're going to plateau out. And then it's up to you to do the negotiation from there, right? Like, you had a minimum order quantity of 10, and then it was at this price, and then 15 was at this, and 100 was at this. Well, I'm ordering 1,000. What can you guys do for me? Like, how can we structure this differently? And I think that's something for everybody watching. Like, don't be afraid to ask that. Like, what's the worst they're going to say is no? Okay, well, you're right where you're at. They say yes, you've just made a huge leap in your business.
Exactly. That's the beauty of economies of scale. And, I've seen you in the boardroom, or we call it the war room, whatever you want to call it. We have a little conference room, and Caleb is unbelievable at negotiating. And he's really good with talking to these people on the phone. He didn't have to learn this. It was just like instinctual to him. But what could you say to the audience of people who might not be so comfortable calling up these companies and actually, negotiating with them?
So I think the key thing, if you're uncomfortable, find things in your life that you can do to put yourself in similar positions. If you're single, maybe that's go talking to somebody, another girl or a guy, shooting a shot, putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, or whether you're with friends and you want to go make new friends, going up and asking somebody a question. Or like a great one that somebody who I idolize is Tim Ferriss, right? And he'll call it like the good guy discount. Like, next time you're ordering something at a coffee shop or somewhere, be like, hey, like, can I get 10% off, or can I get 5% off? Yeah, you're going to feel extremely uncomfortable, and you'll probably get it, 1 out of 20 times. But the fact that you're doing that is going to help you be more secure and more stable in those kind of conversations.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Tom's cracking up over here at the comments, so we're definitely going to have to ask some questions.
I'm going to have to remove that comment.
I'm trying to find them right now.
I just laughed my balls off at that, but I don't think that's acceptable.
Okay, so Dominic says, scroll to that one. Does he use a co-packer, or does he source, handle everything? And does he have a net 30 or net 15 or net terms in general to help him offset upfront initial financial commitment? And Caleb and I actually talked about net terms a couple of weeks ago, and that's something that I threw out there for you, obviously for cash flow purposes. Right. So do you want to talk about maybe going forward if you are looking to do net terms? So
I think going forward, we're definitely going to be doing net terms. As far as the sourcing stuff, I worked out an agreement with them where they do everything in-house for me. Now take it like I was a little bit out of their spectrum. Like typically a supplier will give you like, all right, you have option A, B, and C, and this is what they come with. Maybe it's product A packaged in, packaging B, and, it's going to be labeled with label C. Right. So, and that's what they were set up as. And I went and said, I don't like any of that. This is what I want to do. This is the, I've already contacted your supplier. This is the bag that I want. This is how I want the label to look. And this is what I'm like, this is what I want if you want to do business with me. And they were like, all right, you're a pain, but we'll see if we can make it happen. So that's kind of answering the supply question, I think. But yeah, net terms are definitely going to be needed going forward, especially as the order quantities get larger and the funds are going to, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're self-funding, which I am, you're definitely going to have to spend the money, and the net terms kind of helped offset that.
And for people who don't know, there's a lot of people in our audience that are drop shippers. And so you're not actually drop shipping. You're buying the product in bulk, getting it to your apartment, and then shipping it out. So that is obviously more risky in terms of your cash flow, but you're able to hit some really great profit margins, right?
Yeah. I mean, so with that, I mean, I'm able to control everything, right? So initially, like on one of my first orders, I think my profit margins were around maybe like 30%. And now depending on what I do and the, where the coffee sourced from, whether it's from Ethiopia or from Mexico, they can be anywhere from upwards to, to 60 and 70, which is pretty huge. I mean, you're not really seeing that on a lot of businesses.
Right.
That's very, very true. So Jameson Social actually asked a little bit ago, is it a subscription-based plan for this coffee?
Yeah.
So, I obviously know it is, but explain why you went that route and, what,
so we actually do. We do two things, and we're going to transitioning to three here shortly. So we do buy the bag, which is like standard, and we do subscription. And why we did subscription is for a business model, it's recurring revenue, which is great, right? Like, you're going to get that money just about every month as long as you're keeping your customers happy. And also it gives me more chances to help you in the sense of, with our subscription, say you select medium roast, right? This month we're going to send you a coffee from Mexico. You've probably never had coffee from Mexico. Next month, we're going to send you one from Ethiopia, and so on until you find one that you like. And once you find one that you like, you can stick with it. And it's cool because now you're not saying, oh, well, I got Starbucks medium roast. Well, I got this, great coffee from Mexico, and I know the region it was from, and that's the coffee that I like, not, oh, I just like this medium, whatever. And then soon, we're in the works of kind of developing the software. We're going to do kind of a palette software. So you're going to answer a few questions for us. And once you answer them, we're going to take your feedback, send you 2 or 3 bags, let you try them out. You let us know your favorite. And then from there, we're going to refine your palette further on.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way to go with it. I think a lot of people, and I know this from answering the questions on my YouTube channel and in the Facebook group, Wholesale Dropshipping, a lot of people don't understand really what it takes to get started with the Shopify business. They see the Shopify gurus. I'm sure everybody out here has seen the Shopify.
Make $100,000 in your first month.
Yeah, and they don't really know what it takes to like actually get it up and running. And when we first met, you were in that initial phase of just getting up and running. I saw your landing page. It wasn't so great at the time, but you just started. You were only a week in. And I just want to know, like, what was the process of learning it? I know you taught yourself basic HTML and I think some CSS. So do you want to talk about that and how you kind of took the reins of learning everything there was to know about building a Shopify store?
Yeah, I mean, so initially, as Jason can tell you, I mean, it was not pretty. I had the color scheme was bad. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, to be honest, it was awful. Maybe someday I'll post a picture of it for everybody to get a good laugh, but not anytime soon. I mean, I initially just started with a free theme, and then once from there, I figured out the basics, and then I would start looking at other people's websites, specifically my competitors, like how is their setup different than mine? Maybe that's why I'm not getting a sale when people come to visit. So then I would go through and I'd say, all right, well, they have a drop-down menu. Well, how do I get a drop-down menu? Oh, I don't have a drop-down menu. And for me at the time, I mean, I was, bootstrapping and, I hate to spend money unless I want to see a return on it. So as Jason said, I taught myself how to code. So I was actually custom coding a lot of this into my website. And then Jason comes along and says, there's a lot easier way you can do that if you just spend like $100 to $200. So, I spent the money and got a custom code, and that gave me more options. So now I could actually have the stuff that my competitors had. And I think that's the key. I mean, don't take your website as being great and you know best, and this is how it should be. Go out, do the research, look at your competitors, see how their website is, see how their flow is, and then see if you can, mimic that, because it's already proven. Why would you do the work and extra research to try to reinvent the wheel when it's already there for you to look at? Mm-hmm. And I think another good thing is, don't be afraid to post on forums. Be like, hey, what do you think of my website? I mean, I got ripped apart on my first one. Like, this one lady ripped into me, said it was trash. She would never, ever view my website again. She would back out within less than a second if she could. I mean, just stuff like that, but it's helpful feedback because you think you have, the golden egg, but in actuality, you don't have anything. So just do the research.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your B2B play? You've been developing that in the last couple of weeks, and that's something that I've never looked at. But as you talk more about it, I'm like realizing how much money there is to be made at least if you have a B2B arm. And a lot of the distributors that I work with,
don't know what B2B is.
B2B stands for business to business. A lot of the companies that I work with, that I source from in the United States, have a retail arm, and they'll have a B2B arm where you can get products from them for wholesale. And so you see a lot of companies now emerging as these kind of pseudo players in the supply chain. And Caleb's kind of starting to shift a little bit to the B2B game. So do you want to talk about that and maybe your LinkedIn efforts?
Oh,
too?
yeah, dude, that's sketchy.
So I did a little bit of digging, and I kind of see where my business is growing. And for me to scale it how I want to scale it, I definitely need to bring in more income. And, I can do it, by more marketing and stuff. But ultimately, I saw the B2B play as a good option, right? Like reaching out to other businesses who can benefit from my service or product. And, at first, I was kind of weary about it, but I just started, honestly, just picking up the phone and calling people like, hey, like, what are you doing for your coffee? How is this, what are you doing? Like, who's your supplier? And then they would give me a name, and then I would, basically do the equivalent of sniping on their supplier. I would do that.
That's true.
I would literally call them, see what their service was about, figure out what I could find from them, and then figure out how to beat it. And then from there, I set up a whole B2B structure, whether it's a spreadsheet or, whatever else my competitors are doing. And like I said, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm literally taking the exact same stuff that they're doing and just making it my own. I'm not copywriting anything. I'm just taking a very similar format and using it just how they're using it. But I found a way to improve on it. And another big thing that I saw was LinkedIn. I mean, about 2 months ago, I probably had 70 connections on LinkedIn, and I did a bunch of digging on where B2B is done. And last year alone, 80% of B2B leads came from LinkedIn. 80%. Pretty big, right? I mean, that's huge. So I was like, I have to get on LinkedIn. So I started hitting LinkedIn hard, and in the last, 2 months, I've grown my account from 70 people connections to now I have a little over 800. So that's, it's pretty substantial growth. And, I have a little script and stuff that I use for that, and the way I target and the certain people I targeted. I can't give you all of my secrets, but it's been pretty good. I mean, and a lot of the businesses and a lot of the meetings that I get have come specifically from LinkedIn. I mean, I would say 90% of the opportunity that I've had within my business that's been B2B is all LinkedIn based. It's either me connecting with somebody who, for instance, I connected with a lady 4 weeks ago, right? Connected with her. Don't try to come out and just pitch your business. You're going to come off as a little bit scammy, and you're going to get unconnected or unfriended as the Facebook equivalent. So, talk with them, see what they're doing, talk about their business. And then I said, hey, who's your coffee provider? What are you guys doing? Oh, you have a retirement community that has 500 people. I know they like coffee. They're older. Yeah.
Old people love coffee.
So what are you doing? Like, tell me about your coffee. And she's like, I'm like, let me send you a bag. Right. So sent them a bag, and now, I'm waiting on to hear it back. But if I get the contract, that's huge. And that's all off of LinkedIn. So definitely branch out to LinkedIn if you're doing B2B. It's going to be huge. It's the transition. It's about to be the new wave for sure with B2B plays.
Right. And for you, the power of B2B, at least in your industry, is you get in on an old folks home, or, like we live in an apartment complex, and there's a corporate, right? So they own a lot of different complexes around the country. And if you can get in on one location, chances are you can probably get in on the corporate level. So if you can get those contracts with them on a nationwide level, now you're making some big money.
Big money, right? I mean, you're going to 10x your business basically overnight. I mean, what's better? I can sign up 50 subscribers, or if I get one retirement home that has 500 people, and statistically about half of them drink coffee. So that one play, that one little, thing that I put out on LinkedIn is potentially going to get me 250 recurring customers versus me, creating a Facebook ad or something that may get me 10 to 15.
Yeah,
that's very true. Make sure the coffee's not too strong. They might get like a heart attack or something. But yeah, so we got 25 people watching right now. If you guys have any questions, it doesn't have to be just about what Caleb's doing or anything like that. Just drop a question below. We're going to make sure to answer it. He said, the Andrew's here. This is Andrew Croft. He was one of the kids at the the grind camp. I had no idea who it was. He was commenting on
we got a question from Dominic. Dominic's been pretty active in the feed over here. He says, can you ask Caleb what his current customer acquisition cost is And is he doing any Facebook ads? If so, how much is he spending on average? So first start, I guess that's a multi-part question. What's your customer acquisition cost on average?
So it depends, right? Currently right now, I only get my bags in full size, right? So they're 12 ounces. So it's basically the same cost that you would buy a bag on my website for is my customer acquisition cost. So it ranges from anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks, right? Now I was running Facebook ads, but I mean, it's hard to get the ads right. And I'm not a marketing guru by any means at this point. So for me, I think it's better to give away free product versus if I see you on LinkedIn or I meet you on the street or somewhere, or you like one of my posts and say, hey, I'll send you a free bag of coffee that costs me 10 to 15 bucks versus spending $1,000 this month on marketing or Facebook ads. To me, at this point, I think that's a better play. I mean, I did a lot of research on my current competition, and they're spending $5,000, $10,000, some of them $15,000 a month on their Facebook ads. And I take it they're large companies and they're doing, $7, $10, $15 million a year in revenue. But for me, that's a lot of money wasted because a Facebook ad isn't a guarantee that you're going to get business. And neither is, me sending out free coffee. But for me, I think my product kind of speaks for itself. So if you get the coffee and you try it right now, you're probably going to continue buying it. At this point, I believe I have around a 95% customer rate that they retention rate. Yeah, I couldn't find the word.
Retention rate.
Retention rate of everybody who I've sent coffee to. So I mean, I would challenge a lot of you to look into that strategy versus whether it's Instagram or Facebook ads, because it's something different and it's something a lot of people haven't really tapped into.
One thing I think that's funny is because everybody focuses so hard on Facebook ads and Facebook ads and more Facebook ads, now Instagram and other things like that. But I feel like the good old fashioned, what you do all the time, just pick up the phone, and we've been doing it with wholesale suppliers and just about anybody. I mean, anytime anybody wants to try to do a business deal with me or have me affiliate their program or something like that, like I make them call me or talk to me or have a phone call or something like that. Like it's so much more natural, and just so many things get lost, I feel, through via text, anything like that, an ad. There's no chance. What's the chance that somebody's going to click on it? They're not on Facebook to shop. They're on Facebook to look at like some fucking dog videos. And like, then all of a sudden your coffee ad comes across. Of course you targeted them and stuff, but the fact that you could then contact a company, and what was it, like the first deal that you did was with that church or whatever. And then you just got like, how many bags did they buy or something right off the bat?
Yeah. So with the church thing, it was kind of weird. I mean, it's just been church I've been going to, and, I was going to donate a bunch of coffee to them because I feel like I needed to do. And I walked in there and I was like, hey, how much coffee you're doing a month? And they told me, and it was way, way more than what I had anticipated. And I was like, I can do half of that. And, wasn't expecting anything really in return from them. And just kind of kept talking with them, talked a little bit more about my product. And, they were like, we appreciate your generosity. Do you sell by the bag? And I was like, yeah, I see you guys don't sell it. And they have a little coffee shop. I said, I don't see you guys sell by the bag in here. Would you be willing to? They said, yeah. And they were like, all right, we'll take a 5 of everything you have. So that one meeting, that one little connection, that one little leap of faith ended up getting me to sell 25 bags in one day, right? That's pretty crazy, right? That's been one of my biggest sales days ever. And I think, Tom and Jason, I've seen it time and time again. I'll just be walking around the apartment complex. If I see somebody, especially if they have a coffee cup in their hand, I'll walk up and be like, hey, you really like coffee? Yeah, I have a coffee company. I'll tell them a little bit about it. If they ask a good question, maybe I'll throw them a free bag. If not, I almost always hit them with a discount. Because to me, that's more personal than, all right, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I see this ad. Yeah, I don't really know what this company's about. Maybe I click it, maybe I don't. Or if I come home and I'm like, dude, that guy walked up to me, told me about his company, shook my hand personally, and gave me a free bag of coffee. Yeah. Wow, like I'm going to do business with this guy. There's something special and unique about the handshake and the voice call, and I think a lot of people have forgotten that.
You're 100% right. I couldn't agree more. In this world of, hyper connectivity, Facebook, Instagram, everybody's so plugged in all the time. Somewhere along the line, we've kind of lost that, unique connection that you develop when you talk to somebody on the phone or speak to them in person. Now, as a business owner, we can leverage those ideas, and just like what you said, and actually go and close on sales when normally you wouldn't make that sale. So that's something that for people out there, if you're watching, to consider. And if you have your own Shopify brand, I'd highly recommend doing that. Now, personally, when I first started my Shopify store, I went to the local college. It was a state college, and I had me and my girlfriend passing out inserts, literally handing them out. I printed out like 1,000 of them. I got rid of all 1,000 of them. And that was something different. And it was something that actually worked. And I could run Facebook ads till the cows come home. But what's your ROI going to be on that? You know, you spend a whole afternoon actually meeting people at an event or calling people, your chances of actually closing a sale, I feel like, are actually much higher. And developing a long-term relationship, especially with B2B, the long-term relationship is really important.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jason and Tom can test this. I mean, once my website was set up, once it was, you know, in condition where I thought that I could start converting, and once I had product in, I didn't start running Facebook ads. What did I do? I went out and got business cards because it's more of a personal touch. That $40 investment on business cards is going to do way more for you than $40 in Facebook and Instagram ads. Trust me.
That's so true. I spent $40 on a Facebook ad. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. And it was gone in like 3 days.
Yeah. So we got a lot of questions here.
Yeah, Finn. Finn. I have no idea how to pronounce your last name. Warnka. I think he said he was from Germany on one of my last posts. That's also good because I get a lot of people ask me from Germany questions about eBay dropshipping, and I have no idea what the answers are. So he said, does he sell powder, beans, or both?
I don't know what a powder bean is.
Powder, beans, or both. It's ground coffee beans or both. A powder bean. Jesus.
So I actually sell both. I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, kind of particular on which one they want. I can tell you from my coffee knowledge, you definitely want to go with the whole bean route and then grind it yourself. I actually just came out with a nice little coffee knowledge article on common misconceptions. I believe we have the link below in here.
Yeah, it is in the description. Top 5 coffee misconceptions. Check that out.
Yeah. But I sell both, but I would discourage you away from the grounds. I mean, if that's what you're comfortable with at this point in your coffee adventures, and go for it. But I would highly recommend the beans. And I mean, obviously I sell both, not just because of that, but because from a business aspect, right? Like you got to cater to both sides of the group. If I just had whole bean coffee, nobody who wanted grounds would ever really buy from me, or vice versa.
Yeah, that is very true. You got to kind of cater towards your target market, even if it's not the best thing.
Right.
Yeah, so Andrew Croft said this guy's a boss. I feel like I've already said that. Matt Archie, he's been all over. He's the one that went to MIT. He's been all over our channel. There's something about you guys that is interesting to watch. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Drunken Monk. Are monks allowed to get drunk? I'm not sure.
He said, how about Snapchat marketing?
I'm not tattling either way.
What's your opinion on Snapchat marketing, Caleb?
I mean, at this time, I don't know a lot about it. I know a few people have been pretty successful with it, but I think, you know, just like with anything else, your ROI initially is probably going to be a little bit low, and you got to really know what you're doing. I mean, it seems to be a new game that some people are getting into, a lot of the influencers. But if you don't have the pool at this time, or you don't have the following, it's probably not the best place to put your money. I still think, you know, calling the phone or business cards or reaching out to people via LinkedIn is definitely a better use of your time, LinkedIn especially. And I know we talked a lot about B2B on LinkedIn, but there is a ton of B2C on there. I mean, I'm selling people. I mean, right now I'm about to acquire my first international customer. This guy's in Germany, right? And he's going to buy coffee from me. So, and that's the power of LinkedIn. Trust me, it's better than Snapchat.
Yeah, I also think the demographic on Snapchat tends to be younger. So like teens and preteens, generally speaking.
The tweens.
So if that's not your target market, then there's no sense in you putting ad spend onto a platform where your target market doesn't tend to hang out. You know what I mean?
But if you're selling like fidget spinners or the next equivalent to that, that's definitely going to be great for Snapchat. But yeah, that definitely goes to show, like, you need to know where your people are and you have to go find them. Like, that's why you said you looked at your competitors, what they were doing, and pretty much tried to mimic it. And every book I've ever read on marketing basically says the same thing about that. And it's to go find like where the competitors are getting their people, and then just divert them into your website or your stream or whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Your funnel.
Exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people forget. I mean, people who play sports, what do you do? If you're a golf player, right? Whose swing do you usually model? Tiger Woods. You look at his swing. Why don't you do the same thing with your business? See who's doing it the best and go after it. Do what they're doing.
That's very true. Yeah. I mean, I've never golfed, but I understand what you're saying. Dominic says that church story sounds like a drug deal. It was, because coffee and caffeine was a drug. So can you, Halal, I don't know how to pronounce that. Can you, this is not great English. Can you ask Caleb, is he taking a decision to quit his job after? No, Caleb definitely quit his job before you had a sustainable income doing this, right? Kind of what I did as well.
I mean, I quit, you know, like I said, I'd had enough. I'd worked there for a year and a half, put in consistently, if you average out the time, 70-hour weeks, you know, and I was just done. I quit, no extra source of income, flat out quit. And I just trusted in my ability to make something work. I trusted that it would work out. And I think a lot of you are waiting to take the leap and you're playing the someday game. And trust me, that's not a good game to play. You're going to look back in 5 years, you're going to be in the exact same spot that you are, and nothing's going to happen. Like, you have to take that jump, whether it's a financial investment, whether it's a time investment, or whether it's doing something as significant as quitting your job. Like, that's something that you're going to have to do in order to make this happen.
Yeah. And guys, I understand a lot of people are in different situations than us, right? We're all in our early 20s, and this is kind of the time that we can take those higher risks and quit our jobs. And
we also had good schooling,
we put
education.
all that on the side, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, you guys might be older, you have a family, you have kids, and you're in a different situation, but there's nothing stopping you from going and making it work on the side. I have one-on-one students that I coach, and they actually are making this work on the side. Most of them are making it work on the side because they have too much of a time commitment with their kids, and they're still making it work. So there's nothing stopping you from taking that leap of faith, at least part-time.
Yeah. What was it? Gary V. Gary V says, like, what are you doing in the hours of 4 to 2 a.m. or whatever after work?
Right. I mean, a little bit more about my thought process, right? So I physically didn't have the time, right? If you're working 70 hours already, you don't have the time to start something on the side, because all you're going to want to do, you know, Monday through Friday is really come home, eat. If you work out, and then you're probably going to go to sleep because you're beat. I mean, for those of you who are working, you know, 35, 40, even 50 hours a week, that extra 20 hours allows you to do a lot. And another thing I think you have to do is, like, what are you doing on the weekends? Like, how are you spending your time? Are you going out? Are you partying? Are you playing golf? What are you doing? Like, that time could be subsidized and used for your business or used for your personal growth.
That's very true. I realized I stopped partying a lot more when I actually worked for myself. But so we got some other questions here. Dominic's been dropping jokes the entire time. I've been laughing this whole entire life. He said that there's no way that you're 20 or at least 35.
Oh, come on.
I've been laughing the entire time. But he also did ask him if he will travel outside the United States to build business relationships, because the best coffee is not grown in America.
That's a good point. And Caleb was talking about that this morning with the Guatemalan guy, or the Central American guy.
So I have some stuff in the works. I have a few contacts in Indonesia, South America, specifically in Colombia, and then I have some other stuff going in Nepal. Nepal is going to soon become I think a good coffee region. Greatly known for tea now at the time. But yeah, of course, why wouldn't I travel outside of there? I mean, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and plus I like to travel. So whether I got to fly to Colombia, or whether I got to fly to Nicaragua, whether I got to fly to Ethiopia, like, I'm going to do it because I find it interesting, and B, that's what I need to do for the business, and if I want to cut people out of my supply chain.
Yeah, that's very true. You got to go to the source. Nicaragua is definitely fun too. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Ty. Said he did not quit his job. He fired his boss. Who made up that saying, fired his boss? I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Gary. I don't know.
It's probably one of them, yeah. Where's your coaching link? Gary Y wants to know where your coaching link is, Jason.
I'll pull it up in a minute over on the side screen for you.
And dude to the left is super kind. Much love to him. Oh, everybody's loving Jason today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just the asshole.
I do have a YouTube channel if you guys are interested.
I forgot to put it in the description. You can do that as well.
Yeah, I will.
So, I mean, what would you say, since you just started, or not just started, but have been at this for fairly recently, like, what the biggest challenges you've had so far in just getting everything up and running and getting started?
I mean, I think it's, you know, you don't know what you don't know, right? So whether it's marketing or whether it's web design, I mean, when you go out and you try to do something like this, whether it's Shopify, eBay, Amazon, you're going to have to develop a lot of skills, right? My background was engineering specifically. So I never marketed before. I never done website design. So you're going to have to start, you know, fulfilling those roles, writing articles. You're going to have to, you know, put on different hats that maybe you haven't before. And I think that was the biggest challenge for me. Like, you know, oh crap, you know, I have to market now. Oh man, I have to learn coding to learn how to do this website design. Like, that was the biggest challenge for me.
No, that's definitely, I feel you on that too, because at least from us, as like from coming from the engineering background, when, you know, we made that PDF, the new PDF we're coming out with for manual eBay dropshipping the other day, and it was like a post of my promoted listings dropping and pictures, graphs of that, and I was just like, dude, this looks like a science project. This is awesome. But like coming from that analytical, science-based mindset, like marketing makes no sense to me. I don't understand it at all. And I mean, it's not that I don't understand it, it's just that it's nothing I've ever immersed myself in, and it's not scientific. It's more emotion based, and I've never really understood that. And that's kind of you know, the issue that I've had when I first started. And Gary says, "Why do you always look stoned?" I don't know. It's just my eyeballs. We do live in Colorado, but I have yet to indulge since I've been here.
And Gary, I plugged in my YouTube channel at the bottom and the one-on-one coaching above that. If you're interested, just you know, go ahead and click that. Also, for those of you guys who don't know and you guys have been watching, Caleb did make his first PDF. It's like an informational brochure. It's the top 5 coffee misconceptions, and that's in the description. I read it today. It's awesome. I don't know much about coffee. I just started drinking in the last couple of years, but now I'm learning a lot just by virtue of Caleb. He's like a walking dictionary on all things coffee.
We also have his Mr. Coffee Snob website in the description, so you can go check it out. Rip him apart if you want.
Yeah, I have seen his website and I helped him develop it, and I think it looks pretty good, especially for somebody who just made a Shopify site within, you know, the last couple months. I've been able to refine my sites over the past couple years. Obviously, it's on the next level, but for somebody who's only been in it for a couple months, it looks pretty damn good to me. So props to Caleb on that.
And so yeah, we got 29 people watching. It would be great if you guys could, if you like this information, you know, hit the like button, smash that like button, Hulk smash, like for my last video, the like button. It'll help get this video out there. More people will see it, hear Caleb's story, and I think it's a pretty good one. He had to be on Amazon for a long time because food is gated. What was his Amazon start? Oh yeah, wait, you did get able to sell on Amazon.
Yeah,
right?
So I kind of got lucky. I applied for Amazon and they actually reached out to me and were like, "Hey, we really like your brand. We checked out the website. We're going to give you a personal rep for the next 90 days to help you grow your Amazon store." So I don't think a lot of people are going to do that, but honestly, I mean, there's different ways you can get around it. I know like product categories is one. Like, you may be restricted in a certain product category, but there's always probably another back-end way to get through that by classifying it as something else that's going to be unrestricted. So I would challenge you to look at those.
Yeah,
that's very true. And I've heard of sketchy things where you buy like spices from this website that like in a different country and that's your supplier. And then you just like say that that's where you're getting your items, and then they ungate you, and then you just don't sell those items.
Yeah, but I mean, you should have no problem getting ungated, at least over time, because you're really supplying it from a legitimate source.
Right.
So you should have no problem. But I see, you know, what the problem could be in the beginning. If you're ungated and you want to get the product out to the masses as quick as possible, as we all know, Amazon is the largest marketplace right now. There's so many people buying. If you're not selling on Amazon, you're missing out. I'm not currently because I'm sitting on the sidelines because of some legal issues, but everybody else should be selling on there. And Caleb has gone ahead and started making the listings, and you're still in draft mode, right? For the last week, you've been in draft mode.
Yeah, I've been in draft mode, you know, honing down, doing a lot of research, making sure I get it right. And a big thing for me is I'm trying to do brand registry. I'm not sure if, you know, many of you know what that is, but basically it's once you have a trademark, you get a little bit more options and you can modify your listings a little bit differently. So that's really what I'm going after right now. It's going to have a little bit, you know, more of a website feel when you go to my listings. And I think that's going to make me as competitive as my competitors, because if not, I mean, that's what they're doing. And if I don't have that, if you go to my page and it looks like a normal one, you're probably going to back out. So that's what I've been focusing on, and that's why it's been taking some time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you have a higher price point because it's organic coffee, right? There's a certain demographic of people that are going to tend to buy organic coffee. And if your Amazon listing doesn't look like your competitor's Amazon listing, right? They already have the traffic and they're already ranking high in Amazon's algorithm. So in order to at least be on the same level playing field as them, you have to have all the same components in your listing that they have. So I think it's really smart of you to do this in advance before you even go live with an active listing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I'm not trying to target everybody who goes to Starbucks. My coffee is pretty high end, and it's definitely more pricey than most. but it's because it's all organic, USDA certified. B, it's fair trade, which, it depends on the region, but a lot of times it's better than nothing. And C, I mean, it's sourced from all over, right? Like when you're getting this bean, it's not something that you're going to go get in Whole Foods or, Kroger or King Soopers or wherever you shop. Like this is a really top tier bean and it's specialty grade, right? For those of you who don't know what specialty grade is, it means that on an actual scale where somebody who goes through has been certified and expert, this coffee is rated at a minimum a 6, minimum, right? And majority of the times it's sitting probably around an 8 or a 9. So, I mean, this is really high end. I mean, for my supplier and what we've worked out, I only use the top 2% of Arabica beans in the world. I mean, it's good stuff. It's not your run of the mill coffee by any means.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what we already
Jay Meister says, I have a question for you. You got to type the question and then we can answer it. So yeah, we got 25 people watching. My lives usually go an hour if you guys haven't seen any before. So, we're about to wrap it up. We got 8 minutes left. If you guys have any last questions, Jay Meister, you got to get that question out soon.
But guys, we know that, Tom and I talk all about eBay dropshipping, Amazon dropshipping and stuff. And we're trying to expand, more into the Shopify dropshipping game. I've been in it for a while, but, if you guys have been drop shipping or selling online in general over the past couple of years, right? If you haven't taken a leap of faith or diversified your business to sell on other platforms, to sell different products, to take on different business models, then you're really, I think you're pigeonholing yourself. And that's why we try to get people on like Caleb who have a different background or a more diverse background, right? Because we're always focused on eBay dropshipping. There's a lot more out there. There's a ton of ways to make money on the internet, and it's not just eBay dropshipping. Although that's what we have been talking about. So, if you guys want to ask any questions about eBay dropshipping, we'll be glad to answer them. But
in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes, another thing, we talk so heavily about eBay dropshipping mainly because we do believe it is the easiest way to get started in online e-commerce business, like whatsoever. So there is people pitching these Shopify courses in their Lamborghinis and then everything like that and make it look great. It's awesome. Yeah, they rented it. They rented it for the day. They shot that video ad. It was great. And then they put it back on the lot, and then there you go. But, I mean, you really got to understand that none of this stuff is really a get-rich-quick scheme. But when you put the work in, you reap the benefits. And at least me personally, I would personally like to see the fruits of my own labor other than just, throw magically all these listings up on eBay and then they just sell and then I'm a millionaire or something. It doesn't make sense. Has anything like that ever happened, really? I mean, besides somehow Bitcoin, but that also screwed people over too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I should have preferenced that. I mean, like this Shopify store isn't my first e-commerce experience, right? Like I did a little bit of drop shipping and that kind of stuff, which is really like a segue into the rest of this. I mean, it's definitely, you can go from Shopify and start, building a brand and, drop shipping on that. But I would highly recommend, I think you guys would as well, starting out on Amazon or eBay, because it's just an easier platform. You don't have to worry about web design or marketing or anything like that, at least at the beginning.
Yeah, the most expensive thing in e-commerce is driving traffic. Very, very, very expensive, and it's hard to do, and it's hard to do well. So if you don't have all the pieces in place, then you shouldn't even be wasting your money driving the traffic, right? Because what are people, like Tom said earlier, what are people doing on Facebook? They're not there to buy. They're there to be entertained or to connect with friends. What are people doing on YouTube? They're there to be entertained. So if you don't have all the pieces set up, then there's no sense in putting all that money into ads and that kind of thing. And I get this question a lot on Facebook. People ask me, how should I run my Facebook ads? I'm not making the ROI I'd expect. I'm not making the ROI that I saw on such and such his channel. And all I have to say to them is maybe that's not the right play for you. Maybe you have all these other pieces that haven't, aligned yet for you. So, you got to take a step back and put everything in perspective and really think, is Facebook ads or whatever ads, are those worth you doing at that time being? Or should you build up your brand? Should you start doing other things? And a lot of people will ask me, well, how can I start getting capital now? I need money now. I need to pay my bills now. And like, yeah, we all need to pay our bills now. But the fastest way to do it, in my opinion, is starting a dropshipping store on eBay or Amazon, because that's where all the people are going. They're ready to buy. They have their credit cards out. But if you're looking to make a long-term sustainable business, a long-term sustainable brand, and build something out that, you know, is still around in 5 or 10 years from now, or if you're a serial entrepreneur, something that you want to sell off for a couple $100,000, then Shopify, building a brand on Shopify or WooCommerce is probably your best bet, right? So it's kind of like a stepping stone. eBay dropshipping or Amazon dropshipping is more of a stepping stone, in my opinion.
That's very true. So yeah, Gary Y actually said, "Awesome, Caleb. I can ditch Mayorga and try your brand." I don't. Have you ever heard
that
of?
That must be a coffee.
Yeah, definitely ditch them. For everybody watching, I went ahead and set up a little code. It's DSU. So if you use that on my website, which I believe we have a link in the bottom for,
yeah,
give you 25% off of anything on there, whether it's a grinder.
It's capital D, capital S, capital U.
Yep. Capital D, capital S, capital U. So whether that's a subscription or anything, it'll give you 25% off your initial order. Yeah, definitely better, man. I mean, it depends on how they grow their stuff. I know a little bit about their brand, but I would definitely try mine over that. And I'm not just saying that because it's mine. I'm saying that because I tasted a lot of coffee prior to this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dominic says Gramps to the left. I'm guessing I'm Gramps. I do have a gray hair coming in right here.
That's fine.
I have one gray hair. Is smart as hell. I can't even lie. He's wisdom, and I bet he learned that shit from hustling and working hard, sweat equity, not college. I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. I did go to college. I did go in debt, paid a lot of money for that shit, and
it's as bad as other people say. Like, we worked our balls off in college. I'll tell you that. And I mean, it was probably because we went to a majority engineering school, 60 or 70% engineers. But, you know, like, it was tough work. And I also do think that you can learn stuff from it, but it just costs a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money. You have to ask yourself what the opportunity costs are, right? Because you're at a 4-year college. We got our bachelor's degree. Those 4 years, you could have learned a trade. You could have, you know, been earning money. And the other thing is, you're not going into debt. You're not taking on student debt. I don't come from a lot of money, so I had to take on the student debt in order to go to that school. So you have to kind of take a step back and say what the opportunity costs are. And that goes for anything. You have to really analyze what your options are and see what's, you know, what the cost benefit is.
All right, so we're going to answer Jay Meister's question here. Where all would you put your shipping information on a Shopify store? By shipping information, do you mean cost or like time frame? I have no idea.
Are you looking for, like the cost or what? I mean, I know on mine, I kind of set it up very similar to Amazon, right? So all the shipping's included in the price. I mean, you can kind of get sneaky with it and tag it on at the end. Or I know some people will do it underneath of the initial price, like a lighter font. So like maybe it says, you know, $10.99 plus $6 shipping, but you don't really see that subconsciously. You're focusing on the $10.99. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure what you're directly asking.
I'll expand on that. I mean, you see a lot of Shopify stores.
He said time frame is what he wants to know. Time frame.
Oh, time frame.
Like if you're dropshipping from AliExpress, then it takes like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, you have to figure out what your supply is, right? I mean, you need to, make sure you have enough handling time and stuff. I mean, AliExpress, right, or Alibaba is definitely going to be longer. So just figure out what it is and how quick you can get it, and just be true to it. I mean, don't try to sell people short because, yeah, you may drive a few more sales, but you're going to get bad feedback and nobody's going to come to you.
Don't scheme and throw the fake tracking in there, because then you'll have a lady named Pamela call you every day. I just got over that situation. So market expert said, I'm in the apparel/clothing printing on demand. Oh, print on demand niche. Would eBay work for that? I feel like that's not the place to do it, but I don't know. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to sell shirts there, but I feel like,
I think it's just going to depend.
Only shirts?
Are they custom shirts? I mean, if they're all custom, then maybe, yeah. But just make sure, like I said, your lead times your handling times are adequate. Don't be like, oh, I can print this shirt in a day and get it to you tomorrow. If realistically, it's not going to happen for a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you try on eBay's printing apparel for old people, because there's not a lot of younger people that are buying shirts or hats on eBay.
Dude, camouflage print on demand.
Print on demand
for the dads.
Yeah.
So also Jay Meister asks, you might want, besides AfterShip, what is AfterShip?
AfterShip is a Shopify plugin where people can, put their tracking number that they got from you and check where they're.
Are there any other platforms?
Yeah, there's a bunch. AfterShip is the one I use. It's nice because it integrates right with my review plugin called Judge Me. A lot of people use Yotpo, and Aftership is pretty much the gold standard. There's a free plan, and then it gets up into basic, premium, blah blah blah, and you pay for it based on as your store grows, you pay for it. But Aftership is definitely the best for tracking. What are you laughing at now?
Dominic said, "I don't usually trust men that get their eyebrows done." But he subbed to your channel. There you go, Jason.
Fair enough.
That was good.
Trust me, Dominic. If I didn't touch these bad boys, I'd have a fucking unibrow like a caveman coming across my head and into my hairline. I'm a hairy prick. I'm Italian.
Oh god, that was good.
I'm serious. I'd have caterpillars this big. You wouldn't want to see that. I sure as hell wouldn't get any subs.
Oh, all right. So has anyone here ever drop shipped their own Amazon merch t-shirts on eBay? That's actually a good idea, but I don't know about that. I've never done it. I don't know if anybody else does. Have you heard about? I mean, it's just selling on another platform.
Yeah.
So what is it? T-shirt game done a while ago. College, what a joke. Biggest waste of my time. Just a place to party and get laid.
Not wrong.
More or less.
Not wrong.
So thank you, Jay Meisters. Thank you. Can I make an agreement with a supplier if I don't have a business set up? My friend has an LLC. Can I get an agreement with her LLC suppliers I would not use, if I was your friend, I wouldn't let you use my LLC.
Sketchy for sure.
That's kind of sketchy. Also the fact that LLC, I don't know where you live, worth it, but LLCs aren't that expensive unless you live in like California, Massachusetts. I don't know about other expensive ones, but I mean, we just got ours in Wyoming for like $130 done for you. So, I mean, if you're going to get into an online business, you're going to need at least $130 for an LLC or something like that. You can't start from literally nothing. I mean, you could, but it's definitely a lot easier to have some money backed up.
Exposing yourself to risk if you don't have an LLC, in my opinion.
And it's not like this LLC is going to take weeks or months to get. I mean, you usually can get it within one business week. I mean, I think I got mine within 4 days. And
I got mine within the same day through YourWyomingLLC.com or whatever it is.
It costs $100. And then from there, you get your EIN and you're off to the races, right? So just go ahead and do that. It's worth the time.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap up here.
All right, Jay Meister has the last question. And he says, how would you avoid getting $50+ frozen in PayPal? And I would tell you, don't leave $50,000 in your PayPal. There's a thing that I forget what it's called, but auto sweep. That's what it's called. PayPal auto sweep. You call them, say, hey, I want auto sweep set up on my account. And basically they take all the money out of your account every night. It's actually semi annoying because if you're not making a lot of sales and they took all the money out and then you have to refund them, then you don't have any money in your account. They take it out of your bank account that's connected to your PayPal. But that avoids all the issues of getting your PayPal locked and having a bunch of money in there. Because I remember seeing somebody say that they got like $13,000 locked in it or something. And then I just tried to find an option out, and that was the option.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're over the hour mark. Dominic says $75 LLC, $75 virtual office through Regis, 1,800 business phone. Yeah, $10 through Grasshopper. Dominic's got all the hookups. He said that he was doing cell phone flipping and stuff too.
Oh, right. Well, I think we're gonna close it up. Caleb, do you have any last questions to the audience? I mean, not questions, answers, or
words,
anything.
I think the big thing and the big moral of the story, I mean, like I said, don't be afraid to take the leap. I mean, obviously it depends on your financial situation, but definitely you have the time. You just got to find it. You got to cut stuff out. Don't be afraid to go for it. Don't be afraid to call people, and definitely look for things that people aren't doing as far as marketing and business plays, whether it's B2B, LinkedIn, and that kind of stuff. If it's on the mainstream, whether it's, Instagram or Facebook, majority of the time it's already saturated. So find something different and find another route. It's going to help you out tremendously.
That is very true. So before we sign off, I'd like to give one last shout out to eCom Tomcat for staying on the channel this entire time. Also, go check out Caleb's coffee website, Mr. Coffee Snob, and he also has the PDF, the 5 most common misconceptions about coffee. That's for you guys. It's free. Just sign up, get it. I hope you guys appreciated this live. If you guys want to see Caleb on the channel again, just leave a comment below. And, we'll be sure to have him on the channel again, obviously, because he also does live in our apartment complex. He's in our office. Yeah, and he's an admin in our Facebook group now. He's in our office space at the moment. We're in our apartment. But yeah, so Thank you guys for showing up. Do you have any oh yeah, also we got 20 people watching right now. Before we sign off, hit that like button if you guys loved Caleb's story and his background. And do you have anything to say?
I have nothing more to say.
Jason has nothing more to say. His wise words of wisdom are over. And we are out. We'll probably try to keep doing this every Wednesday like I was doing. Nicaragua got in the way. So I'll see you guys then next Wednesday, and have a good one.
Thanks.